have heard in the news about Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. Engaged young YouTube couple purchased a van with the intention of going cross-country. They hit many national parks, took wonderful pictures, and looked like they were having a wonderful, wholesome time. August 12th, police encountered the couple on the road having a fight. Brian talked down the police officers to say nothing was really happening. Gabby had said she had OCD and anxiety and was working on a computer project. They had to separate for the night. The last post was on August 25th. Gabby had a picture holding a pumpkin. Brian was picked up as a hitchhiker a couple of days later and made his way towards Florida. August 30th, Gabby's mother received a text but doesn't believe it to be Gabby. September 4th, Florida, Brian shows up. September 11th, Gabby is reported missing. By September 15th, Brian is a person of interest. Unfortunately, one body has been found and has been believed to be Gabby. Brian is still missing. Welcome everybody to Nine's Corner. We are going to be doing a very difficult reading. So it's triggering. It's triggering for me. I can appreciate if you find it difficult. So I'm just giving you a pre-warning that this is harsh subject matter and it's difficult. So I put up the story. I'm sure that you've probably heard it on the news. So I thought, let's do a Celtic cross and let's ask Gabby and Brian what is going on, what happened. Let's try to get a sense of what's happening with Brian, and we'll just kind of do a deep dive and just see what the cards bring up. Oh, let's just say the first thing I can guarantee you that mental illness, you know, the state of our world, that is a major... Ooh. First card out, Queen of Swords. I think Brian must have been very unhappy with Gabby. From what we can gather from the police record, that they had been stopped, and she said she had anxiety and OCD and that she was working on a blog or working on her channel. And I suppose she was trying to say, hey, you know, I know the way I am. I was pushing these buttons. And he seemed to kind of talk it down. But here, this lets me know that he was really giving her a tongue lashing and saying, it's almost, you know, that put down where it's like, you're mine, you're beautiful to me, but don't you think you're beautiful? I bet you love going on YouTube now and showing off. And it's like a control, a feeling of major control. This is Gabby. For sure, this is Gabby. She is blinded by love. And it's like there's the negative feeling that she has of her own. And because, you know, to be in an abusive relationship, to be in a relationship where you're afraid, you know, shows that there's something in your character, something that happened to you that, you know, there's something that's almost like a dysfunction that allowed her to get into this really bad relationship. And it's like negative acknowledgement is just as good as getting positive, you know? A lot of arguing here. And it's like a case of, I think you're the best, I love you, nobody else could love you the way I do, but then insecurity hits and it's like, who do you think you are? Underneath it all, underneath it all, Eight of Cups, walking away. So I would imagine that in their fights, there was probably conversation of like, you know, I don't want this anymore. You know, like that really hard lover's quarrel, you know, that, ooh, Queen of Cups in the past. So this lets me know that Gabby Gabby was emotional and trying to keep at bay her thoughts and feelings away from him. So I think there might have been a control issue here, but as weak as she might have been, there was this streak in her, and he wanted to take that streak away from her. He didn't want her to have any ability to get away from her. On top of it all is the Nine of Pentacles. So on top of it all was the want and wish to have a wonderful relationship, to have money come in from the YouTube channel. I'm wondering, because this is on top, that this might be that the money and the channel became more important than them, and that maybe, you know, it was time for them to break up, but they had so much together that he just wasn't willing to see past that. Ooh. In the near future, justice. So Brian may be missing now, but he will be coming to justice over this. He will be located. Pooh. Ace of Pentacles. You know, there's a money element here. I wonder if the YouTube channel, the money that they were making on it, wasn't what was keeping the relationship together to a certain extent, or at least on his part. I think money became important. What you can do to better my life, to serve me, is how it feels. Four of Wands. The others, the people outside, they just want for things. They want Brian to come home. And Brian is not that far from home right now. He's a distance from home, but it's not like he's in another country at this point. He's in the open. Looks like he's close to home. Three of Cups and the hopes and fears. So I really think that the social media aspect of it, some kind of argument, had something to do with social media and jealousy, you know, like him looking at her and saying, oh, you think you're all special now, or, you know, like just some kind of like, you know, where you give a compliment but it's backhanded. It just seems like there's a lot of that. But when it's good, it's really good. But when it's bad, it's harsh. Outcome. Five of Swords. Mental illness, mental illness, mental illness. Brian, you are going to be found, and justice will come to you. I mean, I never say if anybody's alive or dead or any of that kind of thing, because I always believe that's, you know, God's, that's God's territory. But just from the reading, I kind of got a feeling that Brian is alive and he's still out there and he's stressed out and he doesn't know what to do. And, you know, if and when he comes back, it's going to be like, oh, I'm mentally unstable and that's why I did what I did. So even, I mean, see, I do not like reading on if somebody's alive or dead, because I read energy, and energy, it doesn't matter if it's past, present, future, alive or dead, it's energy. So you focus in on the story, you know? Gabby, what advice can you give, whether it be for us as a community of people or to help in your situation, your circumstances? Like what parting words can we have here? The Moon. Honest to God, you know, the Moon is my card for mental illness. I really think that this was a mentally unstable couple that became more mentally unstable with the circumstances and with the YouTube, and just outgrew each other but couldn't leave each other. And water's being shown here. Where did they find... Anyway, I know that they found the body of Gabby. I just don't know the circumstances in which they found her. But the moon is definitely talking about mental illness. And I think that is, it's like the open secret, the elephant that's in the room that we all try to sidestep because somehow you're weak if you acknowledge that, hey, I need help too. And I think this is her message to us that, hey, I am not the only one. And if you are in pain, if you're seeing this, if you're, going through this, ask for help. Don't hide it. Don't build up this dream world of illusion in your mind when the reality is just not that. If you are in an abusive relationship, or if you suspect somebody's in an abusive relationship or anything's going wrong, you need to speak up. You really do. We're so quick to say, hey, don't wear a mask, but we're not as quick to say, hey, it's not okay to hit. It's not okay to have this abuse happening. It's a really hard world out there for everybody, but being a woman, it's hard. It's really, really hard. So God bless the families of both, because I can't imagine what they must be going through. All right, guys. As always, I have our unity candle lit for each and every one of us. And until the next time we talk, guys, cheerio. Take care.